Kama Aina Classic, IA, like, how'd you get started, like, doing music and everything?
Oh man. So getting started with music, just music in general, like I had a young parents, and my mom was, she had us when she was young, and she was, pretty trendy into pop culture. She loved popular music. So like cleaning up the house, she'd always play like the typical Michael Jackson, Prince, Jody Watley, Steely Dan, all the Jets.
Yeah.
So, we just loved music. But then my uncle Costa, he was in a rap group in high school.
Okay.
And they got to audition for House Party 4 when they're in college.
Yeah.
His group, this group from Nanakuli. So they went to Nanakuli. They recorded their demo with Radical Rob Anakea, who produced for Sudden Rush.
Yeah.
And he did all the production for Davey D's Overdrive Live.
Okay.
He did a lot of like the OG Hawaii music videos, the Hawaiian stuff.
Yeah.
But he did their demo. He recorded with them. Or my uncle recorded it with them. And then I don't know how they got the connections, and they went to LA, and they had a chance to audition for House Party 4. They didn't get the part.
Yeah.
But we were living in San Diego at the time, and like he was like visited us and like just telling us about his experience, and like for me, like Kid and Play was big, you know what I mean? And like iconic, for us growing up, and like, man, my uncle got the,
He got to was almost in the movie.
I had his tapes, I knew like all their songs. But when the music game transitioned from CDs or tapes to CDs, he gave me all his old hip hop tapes. Oh shit. So I had LL Cool J, Bigger and Deffer, Walking with a Panther, Fat Boys. I think I had Big Daddy Kane.
Nice.
He just a couple like iconic tapes, but I would play them on my old Play School karaoke machine, and I'd remember the words, and it had a microphone attached to it, and just singing along, and that's kind of like where my like interest, I would say, like the vibe with hip hop music, I vibed with it more. And then of course as you get older, you listen to it more, and then like I grew up in the 90s, the Death Row and Bad Boy era. And then when I got into middle school, I moved to Florida.
Okay.
And me and a relative of mine, we used to make like our own like mixtapes, fake mixtapes. So we like talk on it, like introduce songs.
Yeah.
And like oh, next up we got Juvenile, or what I mean? That was the era, or DMX or something like that, Jay-Z. But then, the CD singles they started selling with the instrumental
on there, yeah.
So then went from just like introducing to like doing like, spinning a couple bars, and then like when he wasn't around, I used to just keep going, freestyle and stuff. And then when I moved back to San Diego, I started getting into like recording, making beats, got into Fruity Loops.
Nice.
And then just started freestyling more with my friends, and then we started battling in school, and like we performed at school, had a little rap group, and I was like, yo, and I was producing. That's what I wanted to do, was be some kind of recording engineer or producer. And like when I was in high school, I tried everything. When you love the culture, like you try, I'm sure you guys can attest to it. You try every element, right? DJing, B-boy, you got a little bit of graph, tagging and stuff. And then for whatever reason, I don't know what it was, but I gravitated more toward being an MC.
Yeah.
I just always loved like the crowd control. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like the lyricism of it, but like I was more into like, you see me perform, we perform together. I love just being able to interact with and engage with a crowd.
Yeah.
So that's what I ended up being an MC, and I wanted to do this. Like I was like, yo, I want to move back home to Hawaii. And my dad had already retired from boxing. My parents are divorced. I had to finish high school in San Diego.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go back home to Hawaii and make hip hop music.
Yeah.
But low key, I was like, Mom, I'm gonna move back to Hawaii with my dad. I'm gonna go to school. I'm gonna go to be a recording engineer. You know what I mean? You gotta make it sound like
make it
official.
sound good.
Recording engineer. You're an engineer. You know what I mean? So. But that never fell through, and I ended up, just coming out here, came back home in like 2004, and just really studied the game. You know, I kind of wanted to see what was out here. You know, Big T's was still doing his thing. Tiki Entertainment. Excuse me. Sick Records. Direct Descendants. Light Sleepers. Catalyst. Creed was doing his thing. Tasho just released Honolulu.
Oh shit!
So like I was like, okay, watching. Okay, how does a game move out here? You know what I mean? I kind of gravitated more toward like Tiki Entertainment. I'm from Nanakuli, you know, out in the country. Their music spoke more to me.
Yeah.
And I came from the West Coast, and that flow, the West Coast and Tiki Entertainment, like Chris Styles and all those guys, kind of resonated more with me, you know. But even I lived in Florida. I loved hip hop as a whole, so I respected where the town artists, you know, how they were their I guess their delivery and their cadence. But I wasn't so attached to it like I was with like the Tiki Entertainment, even though they're from Kaneohe. But Chris Styles was my neighbor.
Oh,
it was crazy because like over the street I lived on, it was me, and then 2 or 3 houses down was Papa T from BET.
Oh shit!
And across the street from him was Chris Styles.
There was something in the water out there.
So yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what like how it kicked off this crazy journey.
And that's crazy because like I think you and I literally had a conversation like 2-3 weeks ago about how like the kids out here now that are doing like that are rapping and doing stuff, like how much easier it is for them as far as like it's acceptable to be an MC out here now. You know, and I was saying how like back when I was trying to rap and when you guys started, like the mindset was, well, if I live here and I'm from here and I want to make it big, I need to go to Cali. I need to do this, and you did the opposite before us. You know what I'm saying? You were like, I want to go back home and do music. So I'm sure that was.
Well, the thing is with me, like, so when I lived in San Diego. So before I lived in San Diego, I lived in Florida. I lived for 2 years. My parents got divorced. That's when my dad came back to Hawaii, and my mom, her dad and her sister lived in Florida and Tampa. So when we moved out there, it was like a major culture shock. But what I got exposed to was independent music, the independent music game. I will never forget. There's this artist there named Crazy, and he had made his own CDs. It was like a mini like Cash Money or like No Limit. I was exposed to them too, you know, and that whole independent hustle and what they were doing. But in the Florida market, like it was like a mini version of that. But I got to see firsthand of these guys with like their vehicles or their stickers all over it, going up to the schools, passing out their CDs, playing their music, just like a whole movement. And I was just like so fascinated. I was like, damn, this is crazy. It's like there's so much moving parts to this. It's not just the rapper. And that's when I started looking at liner notes and credits, seeing the producer. But not only there's a producer, there's like, okay, what's like all these other things, you know? And I started looking at you know, where samples came from and everything, but just that whole machine of how it works. And then I go over to San Diego, and then like one of my best friends, he came from like Southeast San Diego, where like a lot of the hip hop was going on. Mitchie Slick, and like his uncle was Mitchie Slick's first record label. Damn. Presidential Records. Okay. But then I was watching how the independent like West Coast game was. Like, man, that's crazy. Like, and I just reading about it in the Source and the XXL, and like, you know, we'd have the pictures on our walls. You know what I mean? Just like Big said, and then just being so fascinated with like the moving, like the machine. You know what I mean? And tied to with all that, like, I wanted to come back home and do this music and like. Because, you know, like I saw what an independent hustle was about and like how it works, okay? Whether it be like Swisha House or like the No Limits, Cash Money, all these like, and then the West Coast when I got to see Mitchie Slick and Presidential Records. But then also, I spent my whole childhood being in the limelight with my dad. You know, I'm like meeting celebrities. I'm like at boxing training camps with Floyd Mayweather Jr. I'm, you know, Oscar De La Hoya, and I'm just like, I was I guess conditioned or like lucky to have not only my dad was a solid influence, but like being a solid person. Like he wasn't like this crazy character. He wasn't disrespectful. He's a very clean name. So I was groomed in the limelight with him, but then also like I knew the hip hop culture. So like I was groomed and conditioned all these ways. So like I felt like, hey, I saw all these things. I want to go back home and I want to do this. And I feel like I got the tools, you know what I mean? And that's why when I came back,
dope.
I didn't want to like just, you know, just jump in and be like, hey, this is me, you know what I mean? And but I had to like you said, like one of the things you have to deal with here in the beginning was being an MC from Hawaii or like wanting to rap. The first thing is like, oh, bro, you like be one of Popolo? Bro, only Popolos rap, you know what I mean? Or like, you know, or why you trying to rap? You know what I mean? Like, it was like this weird. It was a hard barrier to break through. Like we went through a lot in the beginning, you know, all of us. You know what I mean? I'm sure you guys, even though you guys are a little bit younger than me, it was just like it was really rough trying to push that. You know what I mean?
It wasn't cool.
Yeah, it wasn't great. But honestly, I was very fortunate and like blessed that BET jumped on my very first single. Because that's like, you know, shout out to BET, Papa T and JD.
Yes, sir.
You guys, like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but they're actually a rap group before they were a island group. Because they're almost like on that Fushnikins type thing. Because JD was a rapper and then Papa T was like that ragamuff.
Yep.
So... And then all of a sudden, they make one song called Reggae Love on their album, and JD's singing, and Papa T's like, wait, I didn't know you could sing. So that's when they started converting over to their sound, and that's when they popped off.
I didn't know that.
BET was originally a rap group. I don't know if you guys knew this either.
Yeah,
I just
nah.
found out that Penny Dean was a rapper before he was a singer. Wow. That's crazy, bro.
What?
Yeah.
Just start singing.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, there you
Go in
go.
reverse.
But yeah, so I was fortunate for that. I mean, I was blessed with the opportunity to have them jump on the song. It kind of like eased me in because it wasn't so like hardcore. And you know, we had JD sing on the at least, you know, harmonizing, and like, so I got that advantage coming into the game. You know what I mean? It wasn't just so hard, like just straight hip hop. You know what I mean? So I got lucky, and I was able to do something with it after.